rescue or have lost the power of choice in drink. Our so-called willpower becomes practically non-existent. We are unable at certain times to bring into our consciousness with sufficient force the memory of the suffering and humiliation of even a week or a month ago. We are without defense against the first drink. So one of the craziest things you'll ever hear in a meeting is, I took my will back. You don't lose your will. What differentiates us from the animal planet is will. Everything else on this planet runs on instinct, right? Science, biology, instinct. Animals do things instinctively. We do not. We have a choice, right? We cross over the line into the ism, right? The alcoholism or addiction, right? And we have this internal spiritual malady, this clock that goes off, that once I do this, I lose complete control. That's it. Once I start, I can't stop, right? So later in the book, he talks about the sufficient use of the will. I don't lose my free will. I lose the power of choice. That's the powerlessness. And I need to tap into a power sufficient enough to help me stop, right? The ABCs that no human power could relieve me of this. So that's starting to cross over now into the unmanageability, right? So you remove from me the drugs, the alcohol, the gold, the girls, the glory, however you want to say it, and now these things that were my solution are gone. So I need a new solution. So I'm unmanageable. I don't know how to live with it, without it, how to not lie, how to be honest. I don't know. And so we were talking about this on the way here. At the beginning, honesty, where he talks about it being so vital, like air, right, in the spiritual experience, I don't know how to do that. You asked me what I had for lunch. I had a cheeseburger. I'm going to tell you a tuna melt, right? I'm going to lie. I don't know why. That's just how we're built, dude. We just lie. When we come in here, we have no capacity to be honest. That's unmanageability, right? That's my mind. That's how my brain works. I am sick and twisted, right? It says we are sick. One of the most beautiful things that I remember from early sobriety is somebody that knew me my whole life. And he goes, brother, I got to tell you something, dude. You are not a bad guy trying to get good. You're a sick guy trying to get well. And that made so much sense to me, and I held on to that to this day. And that's what the book says in step 1. We are sick, right? So we need treatment. So we go to the description of the untreated alcoholic, right? It's on 56. Hold on, I'll get to it. 52, I'm sorry. So, we had to ask ourselves, in the middle of 52, we had to ask ourselves why we shouldn't apply to our human problems this same readiness to change our point of view, right? Our point of view is our thinking. We were having trouble with personal relationships. We couldn't control our emotional natures. We were prey to misery and depression. We couldn't make a living. We had a feeling of uselessness, full of fear, unhappy, couldn't seem to be of real help to other people. Was not a basic solution of these bedevilments more important than whether we should see newsreels of lunar flight? Of course it was. This is what I look like when you first take alcohol, drugs, all this other stuff away from me. This is exactly what I look like. And as we start to find the solution in a power greater than us, right? Because now I'm powerless. No human power could relieve me of this unmanageability, of this drinking problem, of this lying problem, of this Nikki problem, of this selfishness, of this fear, and all these things. We start to talk about God, right? And right from the beginning of the book, and I know this is a sore subject for some people, but it says we're going to talk about God. Of course we are. Because that is the power. That is the power greater than us. There is only one God, right? He just doesn't talk to me the way he can talk to anybody in this room, because I won't understand it. It's got to be personal. It's a personal thing, a higher power, a power greater than me, something outside of myself that can help change the unmanageability, the way that I think, the way that I act, the way that I move, once my solution has been removed. Alcohol, drugs, lying, fear, all the character defects that we get into later have to be removed. Something else has to replace that, right? And if you read this, this is one of the coolest things that I've ever seen done with the bedevilments. We were having trouble with personal relationships without God. We couldn't control our emotional natures without God. We were a prey to misery and depression. We couldn't make a living without God. We had a feeling of uselessness without God. We were full of fear without God. We were unhappy without God. And we certainly couldn't be a real help to other people without God. Amen. So that's the start of step 2. And we ask ourselves the second step question, that God is everything in the middle of 53. God is everything, or else he's nothing. God either is or he isn't. What's your choice to be? And that's the essence of transferring from 1 to 2. The powerlessness, the unmanageability, and the grasping or accepting of something greater than me to help me with everything that ails me. The spiritual, the physical, the metaphysical, the emotional, right? To help me clean from the inside out. Nothing outside changes for me that helps me inside. We've all tried it and we've all failed, right? One of the biggest issues that I see with people trying to grasp hold of this thing is they recover from their bottoms. They get their shit back. The kids come back, the wife comes back, the job comes back, the car comes back, money's coming back. All these things on the outside that I think I need, to get better, and I don't get better in here. I'm still untreated. I didn't treat the problem. I tried on the outside to fix what was wrong with me on the inside. Without this good, hardcore look, without this power greater than me that can help me, that can move through me, that can clean me. When I take a good, hard look at myself, work with other guys, work with other girls, start really changing the way that I live and think, that's sobriety. That's treated alcoholism, right? And how do we do this? We start moving through 3. You want to do 3?
Yeah, this is great because we have these, I call them every day, we have these conversations, right? And then I start intellectualizing him and I start telling him about stuff going on. He goes, well, what does it say in the book? He's like, let's go back there and let's start reading what's in the book. And then we start talking about what's in the book and it starts to make sense to us, right? And that's what, I just want to say that I can't say enough about quality sponsorship. I couldn't do this without him. Quality sponsorship is everything in this program. Someone to guide you through the book. Someone that you see has something that you want. They can keep taking. And he's always a sponsor. He's my friend. He's my brother. To me, he's a family member today. I don't care what people say about, you can't be friends with your sponsor. I don't subscribe to that. This guy's everything to me. He's a family member. And every time we start talking about our life, it comes back to us as an alcoholic, and he sponsors me there, takes me back to the book. He's not telling me that. He's explaining to me this design for living. And I love that he does that every day, and I love that he just did that now. Because I'm not going to look in the book. I'm going to tell you what I remember or what I think. But this and the value in that is priceless, right? That's why I say I'm at a level of comfort today that I would never give up for any kind of monetary situation. All right, so like he was talking about power is what we lack, right? So if the power's not in here, right, the rest of this program, the rest of these steps are a search and a realization for that power. Right? In step 3, we have to make a decision. And we have to make a decision. But before that, I think on page 59 are the 12 steps and how it works. And what we just went through, after the 12 steps, it has the ABCs, right? And it says, our description, this is page 60, right above, right where it says A. But right above that is a paragraph that says, our description of the alcoholic. That's step 1. Chapter to the agnostic, right? That's step 2. And our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. When they say our, they're talking about the first 100, right? Bill's not talking in general. He's not talking about, himself or Dr. Bob. He's talking about the first 100 people that have went through the trial and error to write this book. They went through the painstaking, failures to understand where they needed to get to. And this is where they got to. After the description of the alcoholic and the chapter to the agnostic, they got to this. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could relieve our alcoholism. No human power in step 1, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bill says, that emotional feeling that somebody comes to you with, frothy emotional appeal. These are the words he uses, frothy emotional appeal. And Nicky described to me as his father coming to him and grabbing him by his shirt and say, can't you stop looking to your son's eyes and stop drinking? You want to say, yeah, but you can't, right? Family member comes to you, says, why can't you stop drinking? Can't you do this for me? Look at what you're doing to your family. Look at what you're doing to your mother. Look at what you're doing to your father. Look at what you're doing to your children. Why can't you stop? That's frothy emotional appeal. That's no human power can relieve our alcoholism. And C, that God could and would if he was sought. In the original manuscript, when they wrote this, is God can and will. There's no if he was sought. There's no softness about it. Right? Did I miss anything?
No, but it's just the essence of 3 comes on the next page on 61, where we realize in our lives how we play God. Right? The control that we think, the delusion of the control that we think we have in other people's lives, right?